listeners and viewers. Welcome to Endpoint Pulse. This is Yuli Kingsley, your host for this episode. We have a truly amazing person here with us from New Zealand. Could you introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers?
Hi all, this is Kris here from New Zealand. Amazing place to live. It's a good outdoors country, yep. And I'm from this beautiful place, yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us more about what you do in your day-to-day life, like your job mainly?
All right, so what I do day-to-day life, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's only to the work, right?
Yeah.
So it's about an hour travel, I guess. In Auckland, it's bloody worse, but it's getting better. So that's my travel to office. And after that, it's about making sure our customers' requirements are taken care of. So we get a lot of inquiries, calls coming in, and customer trust us as a preferred consultant, right? So we are there to solve their business challenges. So they reach out to us and ask for our assistance. They have some sort of business challenges, and we need to guide them or help them with a solution that would best fit for their business need.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do day in, day out.
Okay,
And
cool.
across all solutions from ManageEngine.
Uh-huh.
I would say it's close to 6 years now, working with a team out here. It's an amazing company and a culture to work with.
Yeah. So being a cybersecurity consultant, you would have come across numerous great cases of unique challenges and implementation stories. So how do you solve them with Endpoint Central and the UEMS suite of products?
Okay, so the challenges again goes back to the basics of cybersecurity, right? What it is. It's about the triage, confidentiality. It's about how to protect their data, right? So, and availability. So making sure the resources are available for the users or the business to run. So we make sure that the triage CCC is taken care for our customer. That's how it gets started. And again, it's all start with the basics of understanding what resources or what assets as an organization that I have. So we need to have an inventory of all the assets.
Yeah.
That's the first tick from our solution, right? So we can do a hardware and software asset inventory. And that's one of the key critical controls. From New Zealand, we have Cert NZ. It's a body governed, it's a part of a government entity, pushing all this cybersecurity message and awareness to all our businesses, all the businesses across New Zealand. So they have top 10 critical controls.
Okay.
Critical controls from Cert NZ. And the key controls are about knowing your assets, inventory of your assets, hardware and software. So that's a key thing, and not just Cert NZ. We can see it from Essential 8 from Australia, and also CIS Controls. There's about 18 controls where the key controls, it depends on the organization, what controls they need to apply in the organization, and it depends on the maturity of the organization.
Yeah.
So how well they follow the controls, how well they are complying with certain controls and frameworks.
Yeah. So
that's where my part come and play, and I work with intelligence. I work with people who are really talented, who know what they are doing, need some sort of assistance, a tool set that will help them comply with these kind of controls and compliances.
Yeah.
And that's how our Endpoint Central comes very handy, easy to deploy. It shouldn't take longer. There's no longer deployment time frames. And the quick turnaround time. It's easy for anybody else who's already working on computers, who's there in the IT industry. It's easy for them to get adopted. A person who's doing, say it from system administrators or a network administrators, or from an IT manager perspective or an application manager perspective, or someone who handles the servers. So it's easier for them when they have a right tool set, telling them what's happening in my ecosystem, what's happening in my environment. So it's easy for them to have a greater visibility, and then they can build a fort around it, security fort around it, and that will help protect their organization data and ensure that resources are available for the business to run for a longer run. Even if there is an impact. Again, nobody is strong, right? So we are talking about 0 days, 0 day attacks, and we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But we should be prepared. for what sort of impact it's going to have. And we should have a plan in place, backups in place, and ensure that how we can have it, we should know that transparency is what will help them to be prepared for a worst case scenarios.
Yeah. So speaking about vulnerabilities, in your experience, like with endpoint management, have you come across any security incidents, or have you come across any incidents where the organizations that you work with were hacked, or how did you go through it, or how did you face those challenges?
I would say it's quite common, right? So pretty much everybody is prone to attack.
Yeah.
And they need to be more proactive and ensure that they have good monitoring, visibility across what's happening. Say we have a lot of database that tells them about what's there, what's in it.
Yeah.
We have a great feed within our tool that talks about all the up-to-date zero-day vulnerabilities, right? And also the master SOC database that's there with so intelligence across, just leveraged by all the other tool sets. We also checking with that and checking with the MITRE database and understanding all the CV vulnerabilities and seeing how we can remediate it. Like from our tool, what we have is we have an ability to the configuration updates. The templates are available. So say there could be some sort of misconfiguration or misconfigured GPU, some sort of misconfigured ports, or any such vulnerabilities. For that matter, when we have a vulnerability management solution that has an ability even to understand a network vulnerability, what sort of issues, any sort of issues identified in a particular firmware or it's vulnerable, that can report on, and we have an ability to remediate it. Even if our customers having our Endpoint Central solution along with security, they can have the network configuration manager to handle that kind of a network vulnerability. So from endpoint perspective, we give a 360-degree protection across. From the inventory, updating configurations, patching and ensuring that the software that's managing that particular piece of hardware is always up to date and protects that particular pack, hardware and software pack, from any known attacks, right? And also, when we have a huge mass endpoints to be managed, we need to make it easier for any network administrator or system administrators. It's a Herculean task for a particular administrator. So we had a situation where people need to move from Windows 7 to Windows 10, and now Windows 10 to Windows 11. Our tool has an easy approach for them to do a bulk update, rollout. That's a good use case or a customer story that I can say. There's about 600 odd computers. They need to get it done within a short span of time. They used to do it in an old school tradition where they have engineers, they go to our remote sites and they get it done in each and every machine. It's a huge time consuming efforts, right? With our tool, it's easier once they have the right updates, so they can roll it out. They can easily do a Windows 11 upgrade or have a golden image deploy, or when they buy a bulk machines, they procure multiple machines in one go, they can deploy the operating systems just like that, whether that's online imaging or offline imaging. And we can deploy it with multiple vendors. And again, ManageEngine being specialized, a unified Endpoint Central is a flagship solutions for ManageEngine toolsets, right? We have multiple toolsets. So with this solution, it's easier for them. It makes the job easier for them to get it deployed, and they have a better control of their environment for administrators or even for the users. Somebody working with a remote workforce or the current situation. So people work from anywhere, right? And all of a sudden, looking as a traveler, he's traveling around and he's sitting in a hotel working on some important proposal, and all of a sudden there's something crapped out in his machine. And he want to get it done because he got a deadline to meet. So you need assistance. What if Lucan is an organization, a critical VIP user who need to sign off a particular contract, and there's a lot of stake around it. So that's a mission critical activity that needs to be handled on time. So what if Lucan machine is managed as part of the Endpoint Central? Calls a network, call the support team. No worries. I'm into his machine right away. and I can help him right then.
Yes.
So an expert can easily look into it, or if he's working on something, I can do it offline.
Yeah.
And I can make sure that this machine is always available for him to get his job delivered on time.
Yeah.
So that's what is needed for the business, right?
Yeah.
So that's what a tool does, and that's a story I would say, like really help our customers to increase the efficiency and improve the effectiveness of how they manage their endpoints across.
Yeah. So thank you for that answer. While we're on the topic of security, how important do you think it is to educate users about cybersecurity practices, and if you have any advice for system administrators who are managing distributed workforce? So what would your advice be?
It's like anybody else, any other security consultant would say the same thing. The flaw is to err is human, right?
Yeah.
So we are humans, we make mistakes. Could be not intentional, but it could be a situations where, let's take Vimal as an example. He's carrying his laptop, walking around, doesn't realize, says he got some urgent call from home or from work. So he's handling something and he missed his laptop. It's open, and I'm being naughty cheeky. I can log into his machine, do anything I can.
Yeah.
What if that has a corporate confidential data? What if that machine got compromised and fall in hands with somebody else? Take an example, we are working from home, right? So working from home is quite common right now.
Yeah.
So working from home, Logan is going to be a daddy for 3 kids right now. So he's having about 2 boys who's very naughty, right? So he's opening his machine and he's working on it. He got a loo going inside. When he come back, his kids are playing there. It's a big risk.
Yeah.
And what if that machine is not monitored, not managed? It's not patched, it's not protected. What if they download some sort of random odd games? And that's a huge risk.
Yes.
So user awareness is very, very, very critical. And it has to be continually, the awareness training, security training needs to be continuously done. And we need to evaluate how well our users are aware of it. Do some sort of mock testing, send them a mail and see who's opening it, who's asking, and who's aware of that, and do some quizzes. There's a lot of gamification that can be done.
Yeah.
Make it fun for them to learn, and they should be aware. So I would say they contribute a huge, they play a huge role in terms of our cybersecurity. So we can put all sort of controls. I think we do see a meme of a soldier with all armed with all the armory and everything done, and pen tester coming and shooting it on his, or arching an arrow on his eye, which just opened up. That's the situation, right? So we can do all sort of controls, tools in place, but if a user is not attentive, is not aware, then that's a big risk. So user awareness training is very, very critical for any organization, and that's highly recommended. And on top of it, it's evolving. So we have 0 day, we have a lot of tools in network security in terms of endpoint security. We have AVs to be updated. We are evolving, right? Likewise, the other side, the dark side of security is also evolving, right? How to protect us from the dark side, right? So awareness is the only way. They need to know, yes, these are all the potentials ways that I can be attacked. So I can be aware and I can be conscious about it. And if I see something dodgy, not right, I can report it to the right people. They can take a decision. Or if it is a risk that I can handle it, I can handle it. Or as an organization, from the decision makers, they can pass on the risk to insurance. It depends on the organization need and requirements. But the awareness is a critical part. That should be part of our regular, I would say, standard operating procedure or the policies or the principles for their employees.
Okay. So, using our product, we see there are various industries that are using our products, like Endpoint Central and the other, products in the UEMS suite. We have healthcare, institutions. We have education. We have financial and banking institutions. We also have government sectors that are using our products. So, how do you think, our product fits in with or proves beneficial to these various industries?
Okay, so we are in the world of having multiple devices, right? earlier, old school, we have a fixed machine.
Mhm.
It's fixed to a desk,
Mhm.
and literally people go sit and work 9 to 5.
Yes.
It's kind of protected.
Yes.
But nowadays,
Mhm.
it's all about mobility.
Yeah.
And we have a laptop that's mobile. We have mobile phones.
Yeah.
Right? The digital experience that we have
Mhm.
on our devices, on our laptops, Surface books, MacBooks,
Mhm.
right? It's all mobile. So mobility means we need to find a way, whether it's in the cloud,
Mhm.
which is hosted by, it's like software as a service, or at least their on-prem solutions made available for them, irrespective where they work.
Yeah.
Right? So in these situations, this is the adoption, right? This is the adoption that any business, you name it, like not just government entity, it could be a business, any business, it could be small, medium, mid-market, or enterprise businesses, or government agencies. In New Zealand, we have a good success story that I would like to share. Is in New Zealand, we have about close to 74% of government councils, or in our books, they are using ManageEngine solutions one way or the other.
Great.
Yeah, that's a good customer base from the government sector,
Yes.
right? Likewise, we have a lot of banks, we have a lot of utility companies who are invested in it, and manufacturing industries. So it doesn't matter, any business who rely on a digital experience, who needs a mobile devices, who needs an endpoint to run their show.
Yeah.
This needs to be there. And our solution is very simple, not too complicated. It's easy to deploy. And once the machines are managed, it's easier for them to handle it and get them comply with their internal security policies. And nowadays, majority of the organizations, say at government, New Zealand, we follow Cert NZ, and also a lot of organizations follow NEST frameworks or CIS Controls, or an organization with Australia and New Zealand together, they also follow Essential 8. So they need to have some sort of controls, a security journey towards those 8 critical controls, right? So everybody adopts to that best practices, security frameworks. So our tool makes it easier for them. To give a simple example, with our Endpoint Central tool, we cover 70 to 80% of our essential 8 security principles. The controls are easily covered. In CIS Controls, we can easily handle about 40% of the controls using just our Endpoint Central solution. Now we have a wide variety of packaged solution part of it, right? So with an Endpoint Central security solution, we have everything covered. So the critical thing is about application security, right? Like a lot of apps now. Mobile devices have so many applications, enterprise applications or natively developed applications, or from Google Apps or from App Store, Android Play Store. So we need to make sure that any application that is running in a corporate machine or a corporate endpoint is safe and secure for staff to use it. And that application needs to be whitelisted, graylisted, or blacklisted, and it should adopt to the organization's cybersecurity controls. And that's one of the key controls at CIS Controls as well. So application control framework. So that's where our tool nicely packaged together, right? So we have configuration management for any configuration updates, handling those things. Then patching plays a vital role. Third-party patching, making sure all third-party applications are patched up to date. And with vulnerability assessment as part of it, we also get to know any sort of vulnerability that's reported. So I have a customer was working with a red team. So they need to understand, before they wanted to get a sign off for a proof of concept, they wanted to test our solution that it doesn't have any flaw. So they spent the money, they gave it to the team, they wanted to do a litmus test, check, is there any flaw? They done the test, they're quite happy with it, they wanted to proceed further. And then once they start deploying it, during the POC, we were able to understand lot of insights from their environment. Once we deployed it, once we brought in their test machines, they were able to see quite a significant amount of details what's happening. The critical part, again, as I told you, this basic starts with asset inventory, what hardware they have, what kind of software is installed, and what sort of applications are there in all those endpoints, right? And then they can devise the security strategies around it. So, okay, these are all the applications critical for the business. Well, whitelist it. And these are all the applications that's wasting our productivity, it's costing the organization, right? So they can blacklist it, or at least get the users in, get the staff in, have a kind of an awareness, education. Hey, there's a time spent on this app is too much. So we need to we'll let you to use it, but on conditional basis.
Yeah.
And those sort of security controls, it's easy to get it done with a tool. And again, the main area it's prone to attack is the browsers, right? Just go random websites, click in, there's a lot of pop-ups coming in and then boom, it's gone, right? We need to have, when a device is used within an organization or outside an organization, and when they're trying to connect to the organization resources, their browser needs to be protected.
Yeah.
Their plugins, add-ons. We don't want any dodgy plugins sitting in there or any cookies that's stealing information. So we need to have a complete browser protection, which our tool can deliver.
Yeah.
Right? Plus the device controls. The device controls in terms of USB security, right? So not just USB, any device that's connecting to an endpoint security that needs to be managed, handled, who's accessing what.
Yeah.
And we can also protect ransomware. The ransomware protection is a new addition to the thing. So that gives a good protection for a customer. Hey, there's a lot of data moving around. Okay, let me isolate that machine. Yeah. So, and there is a policy that can protect. It gives kind of a confidence to there's a similar attack that's happening or a correlated kind of an attack. Okay, let me take a proactive measure. I'll isolate that machine or disable that from the network. So it's protected, not impacting. The impact is minimized. Right? And then we have AV updates now, the next gen AV updates. That's a good icing on the cake, right? Customer has a good antivirus, endpoint protection. But we are already doing endpoint driver updates, the definition updates. But with the new options, it's easier for them to go drill down and understand what happened, what's quarantined, and find out more details and makes it easier. That's why I said our tool overall from the endpoint management and security portfolio, it increases the efficiency and effectiveness of a network administrator or a system administrator. And that gives a comfort for an IT manager or IT. The best part is with this kind of tools in place, their cyber insurance cost goes down as well. There's a direct proportional benefit to the organization as well. So as a stakeholder of an organization can be on yes, I have certain controls in place and I'm aligned with it, but am I fully protected? No. It is a journey, right? We need to keep evolving and make sure that our strategies are aligned as per the upcoming threats. We never know what sort of threats going to come, but we need to be prepared for it and continue to evolve with our strategies within the organization. So our tool is a perfect mixture and comes with the right budget, so they can easily deploy the tool. Less amount of resources. New Zealand is prone for it, right? So New Zealand is quite common. We have a limited resources. In any organization, a person wears multiple hats and does multiple things. And the tool that we need to deploy in an organization should be self-sufficient, easy to deploy, and should be able to get it done much easier with less resources, less manpower. And our solution is a perfect set for that.
Thank you for your answer. As a final question, what does Endpoint Central mean to you? Maybe in a sentence or 3 words.
Endpoint Central. So it's a protection. It's a solution to protecting all the endpoints, right? So it means a lot. I'll tell you why. Because it's so personal, right? An open challenge to everybody, right? So can you live without your mobile phone for a couple of days? How you feel? You lose your home, right? All of a sudden, I need to check out what's happening. What's the message that's coming? I need to call someone. So mobile is something very personal to everybody. Can you share your mobile with somebody else? Unlocked?
No. I don't think so.
So as simple as that. So this gives that kind of protection. A personalized protection for your endpoints, which is close to us, and we feel more comfortable with them. That's what I would like to say. Cool.
So thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience with our listeners. I'm sure this would have been useful for all of them listening. This brings us to the end of this episode. This is Siuli Kingsley signing off until next time.
See ya.